All right, so you're thinking about getting into aquaculture hatchery work.
Yeah,
That's great. We're here to help get you ready for those interviews.
absolutely.
We've got some really cool resources that you've shared with us to make this deep dive super useful.
Okay.
A full career guide, an
That's
interview guide,
great.
and even some information on how this AI platform RoleCatcher can really help prep you.
Wow, that's a pretty amazing set of resources.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's going to be really useful for anyone getting ready for these interviews.
For sure.
So before we get into like the super nitty-gritty of interview questions,
Okay.
let's just take a step back and look at what this job actually is.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of people don't know.
We've got this career guide called Aquaculture Hatchery Worker, the complete career guide.
Okay.
And it really dives into like all the details of what this job is about.
Right.
So could you just give us kind of a quick overview?
Well, these hatchery workers, they're really the unsung heroes of sustainable seafood.
Yeah, I've never thought about it that way.
You know, they're like these guardians, these caretakers of all these little baby aquatic creatures, making sure they thrive and grow, from the very, very beginning.
Yeah, so it's really hands-on.
Oh, absolutely.
What kind of stuff are you actually doing day to day?
Well, you're working directly with a bunch of different aquatic species. You've got your fish, shellfish. You might even be working with algae.
Oh, wow.
That's super diverse.
So you're involved in pretty much every stage.
Yeah.
Feeding them, monitoring the water quality, even helping with like spawning and hatching.
You've got it. It's really a full life cycle kind of role.
And I was reading in the guide that it's not always just indoors.
Right.
You might be working in like outdoor ponds and stuff.
Yeah, you could be working in a hatchery, a nursery, or even, like you said, these outdoor ponds or raceways.
Oh, wow.
So you're not just dealing with the animals, but you need to understand the whole environment, the ecosystem that they live in.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and that's what makes it so important.
Because you're really contributing to this like sustainable food system.
Exactly.
I mean, everyone's talking about how we need to find different sources of protein.
Right. It's such a growing industry with a really bright future.
That's why I think this deep dive is going to be so valuable.
Totally agree.
Because if this is a growing field,
Yeah.
we really want to help people get these jobs.
Absolutely.
So let's get into the interview questions.
Okay, let's do it.
We've got this Aquaculture Hatchery Worker, the complete career interview guide,
Okay.
which has, I mean, seriously, it's like an endless list of sample questions.
Yeah, it's pretty comprehensive.
We're not going to go through every single one.
Okay.
But let's hit some of the highlights.
Sounds good.
Some of the ones that really kind of get to the heart of what interviewers are looking for.
Awesome.
What do you think is a good one to start with?
Let's go with a classic.
Okay.
Can you describe your previous aquaculture experience?
Oh, yeah. That seems pretty straightforward.
Right. It seems simple enough,
Yeah.
but it's your chance to really highlight your passion and the skills that you've got that are relevant.
So you're not just like listing jobs on your resume.
No.
You're really showing that you're genuinely interested,
Exactly.
that you've gone out of your way to learn about this.
That's it. You want them to see that you're proactive.
Okay, so what would be some good things to mention?
Well, think about any specific projects you've worked on, any volunteer work you've done.
Oh, yeah.
Even like personal hobbies related to fish or aquatic environments.
Makes sense.
Did you help out at a local fish farm? Maybe you have a home aquarium that you take really good care of.
I love that.
Those details show them your dedication.
I bet they're going to follow up with something like, what specific techniques did you use?
You bet.
They want to dig a little deeper.
Right. They want to know that you actually know what you're doing.
Okay, so what would be some good things to have in your back pocket?
Be ready to discuss things like water quality testing, feeding protocols, even just basic disease recognition.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to get specific, use those technical terms.
Yeah.
It shows you've got that hands-on experience they're looking for.
Perfect. All right, so let's move on to another one.
Okay.
This one always seems to come up.
Oh, yeah, I've heard this one a lot.
How familiar are you with the process of spawning and hatching fish?
That's a big one.
This seems like they're really testing your knowledge.
Yeah, they want to gauge your understanding of the whole hatchery life cycle.
So even if you haven't like directly done it,
Right.
you still need to know the basics.
Absolutely.
What would be some good things to mention?
Well, you can explain the different methods,
Like what?
like induced spawning versus natural spawning.
Okay.
And talk about those critical factors that are involved, like water temperature, light cycles, things like that.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
And be ready to talk about the equipment involved.
Okay.
Incubators, hatching jars, the tools of the trade.
It shows that you've at least like read about it.
Exactly. You've done your research.
Perfect. All right, let's keep going.
Okay.
Okay, this next one. How do you ensure the health and safety of fish in a hatchery environment?
That's a good one.
Seems kind of obvious,
Right.
but I guess they're looking for something specific.
Yeah, they want to know that you have a system, that you're thinking about this proactively.
So what are they looking for?
This is where biosecurity comes in.
Okay.
This concept of preventing the introduction and spread of diseases.
Oh, yeah, I've heard about that.
So talk about those really detailed cleaning and disinfection protocols, quarantine procedures for new arrivals, how you'd monitor fish for signs of illness.
Right. You don't want to introduce any diseases.
Exactly. They want to see that you take disease prevention seriously.
Okay, so it's all about being really careful and really meticulous.
You got it.
Okay, let's do another one.
All right.
Describe a time you noticed signs of illness in fish. What steps did you take?
Ooh, that's a good one.
This one seems like you really have to think on your feet.
Yeah, it's all about problem solving.
So how do you even approach a question like this?
Have a specific example ready to go,
Okay.
even if it's from like a home aquarium or a volunteer role,
Got it.
and walk them through your thought process.
Okay.
How did you identify the problem? Did you research potential causes? What steps did you take to fix it?
So it's not just about the solution.
No.
It's about how you got there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You want to show them you can think critically and act decisively.
And I bet they'll try to throw you off.
Oh, yeah, they'll try to make it harder.
Like, what if this happened in the middle of the night?
Definitely, testing how you think under pressure.
So how do you handle that?
Highlight your willingness to go the extra mile.
Yeah.
Maybe you consult your resources or you reach out to a more experienced colleague.
Makes sense.
It's about showing initiative and that commitment to the well-being of the fish.
Okay, so you're dedicated.
Exactly.
All right, one more question.
Sure.
What experience do you have with handling and culturing various aquatic species?
Okay. Getting into the specifics.
Yeah, they're really looking for someone who's versatile.
Right. You need to be adaptable in a hatchery setting.
So how do you highlight that adaptability?
Talk about your experience with all different types of fish, shellfish, algae, the whole range.
Okay.
And mention any unique challenges you faced. Maybe a particular species was really sensitive to water temperature changes or needed a special diet.
Right.
Things that show you can adjust your techniques based on the needs of the species.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, you want to show them you're not just a one-trick pony.
And they'll probably ask follow-ups.
For sure.
Like, what are the specific needs of, this particular species?
So definitely.
So you got to be ready.
Be prepared to talk about optimal water parameters, feeding habits, any unique vulnerabilities of different species.
Okay.
Show them you've got that in-depth knowledge to handle a whole diverse range of aquatic life.
Wow.
It's all about showing your expertise.
It's a lot to remember,
Yeah, it is.
but I'm starting to feel a lot more prepared just by talking about this.
Me too. It's helpful to go through these.
And we're not even done yet.
They've got more to cover.
Yeah, we're just getting started. But before we jump into how RoleCatcher can really supercharge your prep,
Okay.
let's just take a quick breather.
Sounds good.
It's a lot to take in.
It is.
But remember, the more you understand about what the interviewer is looking for, the better you can tailor your answers
Absolutely.
and really show off your passion
Right.
for this really cool field.
Totally.
Okay, let's take a break and we'll be back soon.
Sounds great. All right, so we're back.
Back at it.
We've talked about a lot of these interview questions.
Yeah.
But now I want to show you how you can really take your prep to the next level.
Okay, lead on me.
We've got this AI-powered platform, RoleCatcher.
Yeah, you mentioned that earlier.
It's a game changer, especially for something as specific as aquaculture.
I got to be honest. I'm always a little skeptical of AI,
I get it.
but the way it analyzes those job descriptions and picks out those hidden keywords,
Yeah.
it's like it's reading the minds of hiring managers.
It really is like having a secret decoder ring.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not just finding those keywords.
Yeah.
It tells you how to use them naturally
Yeah.
in your CV, in your cover letter.
Exactly. So you're not just using those generic templates anymore.
Right. You're making these super targeted documents.
Yeah, that really stand out.
It's like having a career coach who knows exactly what they're looking for.
Exactly. And the best part is it doesn't stop there.
Oh, there's more.
Oh, yeah. RoleCatcher also helps you practice your interview answers.
Okay. How does that work?
So you can record yourself answering those tough questions,
Okay.
and RoleCatcher will give you personalized feedback.
Wow.
It analyzes everything, your tone, the content, even your body language.
No way.
Oh, yeah.
That's insane.
It helps you fine-tune your delivery to make the best possible impression.
It's like having a mock interview with an expert.
Yeah, basically.
That would have been so helpful when I was interviewing.
I know, right? It takes all the guesswork out of it.
All right. So we've got this amazing tool to help us prepare. But let's get back to those interview questions.
Okay, sounds good.
There are a few more in the guide that I think we should definitely cover.
All right, which one's next?
This one's always a bit tricky.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
What are your salary expectations?
Ah, the dreaded salary question.
It feels like a trap.
It can be.
You don't want to seem greedy,
Right.
but you also don't want to sell yourself short.
Exactly.
So what's the best way to approach this one?
Do your homework before the interview.
Okay.
Research typical salaries for similar roles in your area.
So like websites like Glassdoor.
Yeah, Glassdoor. Indeed, those are great resources.
Perfect.
And be honest about your expectations.
Okay.
But also emphasize that you're passionate about the role and the opportunity to contribute to the field.
Because sometimes it's about more than just the money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sometimes the right fit is more important.
I bet they'll ask if you're willing to negotiate.
Oh, for sure. That's a common follow-up.
So how do you handle that?
Be prepared to discuss your flexibility within a reasonable range.
Okay.
Show them you're open to a conversation,
Right.
but you also know your worth.
That's a good balance.
Yeah, it's all about finding that sweet spot.
Okay, next question.
Get me.
This one really tests your research skills.
Okay, let's hear it.
Why are you interested in working at this specific hatchery?
Ah, yes. They want to know you've done your homework.
Exactly. You can't just say like, oh, I like fish.
Right. You got to be more specific.
So what should you do?
Show them, about their operations, their values, their unique contributions to the industry.
Okay.
Maybe they're known for their innovative breeding programs
Okay.
or their focus on sustainable practices.
Got it.
Connect your own interests and skills to what makes them stand out.
So it's kind of like a mini sales pitch.
Yeah, exactly.
You're selling them on why you're the perfect fit for their team.
You got it.
What about mentioning articles you've read about them?
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Or industry events where you've heard them speak?
Absolutely anything that shows you've done your research.
Correct. Okay, so we've
But-
talked about answering their questions.
Uh-huh.
But what about asking them questions?
That's a great point.
When they say, do you have any questions for us?
Yeah.
What should you do?
Never, ever say no.
Never.
Never. It's your chance to turn the tables.
Oh, I like that.
Show them you're engaged and curious.
And that you're thinking critically about the role in the company.
Exactly.
Okay, so what kind of questions should you ask?
Have a few thoughtful questions ready to go.
Okay.
Something that shows you've been paying attention to their work.
Got it.
For example, you could ask about their approach to a specific challenge facing the industry,
Okay.
or their plans for expansion or research in the future.
So don't ask something you could just Google.
Right, exactly.
Okay, so
Duh.
make it specific.
Yes, tailor it to their company.
Dig a little deeper.
Exactly. Show them you're not just looking for a job, you're looking for the right fit.
I love it. Okay, so we've covered a lot of those interview questions.
Yeah, we've made some good progress.
But before we totally wrap up this interview prep,
Okay.
I want to circle back to that career guide.
Sounds good.
Acing the interview is just the first step.
Right.
This guide talks about the long-term career path for an aquaculture hatchery worker.
Yeah, it's a great resource for that.
It's exciting to think about the possibilities.
Absolutely.
You're not stuck in one role forever.
Nope, there's room to grow.
So what are some of the options?
Well, as you gain experience and knowledge, you can specialize in different areas that interest you.
Okay, like what?
Maybe you want to focus on breeding or nutrition, disease management, even hatchery management.
Whoa, so many options.
The guide outlines all those different pathways.
That's awesome.
And it emphasizes the importance of continuous learning.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
This industry is constantly changing new technologies, new techniques.
Right.
You got to stay curious and keep learning to stay ahead of the curve.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and don't underestimate the power of networking.
Oh, that's so important.
Go to conferences, join professional organizations, connect with other people who are passionate about aquaculture.
It's all about building those relationships.
Exactly. You never know where they might lead.
Okay, so we've talked about the interview,
Yep.
the long-term career path.
Uh-huh.
I think we've covered a lot of ground today.
I agree.
But before we go, I just want to take a step back
Okay.
and think about the bigger picture.
Yeah,
Aquaculture plays
Next
such a crucial role
absolutely.
in feeding the world.
And reducing pressure on wild fish stocks
It's got so much potential.
for a more sustainable and food-secure future.
That's really inspiring.
It is.
To think that as an aquaculture hatchery worker,
Yeah.
you're making a real difference.
beyond just the hatchery.
And as the industry grows,
Right.
it needs passionate and informed people like you.
Yeah, people who care about the future of aquaculture.
Okay, so we're going to wrap up this episode soon,
Sounds good.
but we'll leave you with a thought-provoking question to ponder.
All right. I like it.
As you continue your aquaculture hatchery worker journey,
Can't wait to hear it.
Stay tuned.
I'm all ears.
Okay, so we're back.
All right.
One last time for this deep dive.
Sounds good.
We've talked about what it takes to be an aquaculture hatchery worker.
Uh-huh.
We went through some of those really tough interview questions.
Yeah, definitely a lot to think about.
And we even learned how this AI platform RoleCatcher can give you an edge in your prep.
Really cool tool.
But before we wrap things up and send you off to crush that interview, we want to leave you with something to really think about.
I'm all ears.
This field you're going into, it's not just about like science and technology.
Right.
It's about our relationship with nature.
Absolutely.
And how we produce food.
It's a big responsibility.
So as you're going through this process, think about the bigger picture of aquaculture.
Okay.
How can we make sure it's really sustainable?
That's the million-dollar question.
It's not something they're going to ask you in the interview. But it's something you should be thinking about.
For sure.
Because it's about the values you bring to the job.
Right.
And the impact you want to have on the industry.
It's about making a difference.
As an aquaculture hatchery worker,
you're
not just raising fish.
It's bigger than that.
You're part of this whole system that affects the environment. The economy.
The way we feed ourselves.
That's a lot of responsibility.
But it's also really exciting.
And I think that's what's so cool about this field.
Absolutely.
Just a chance to really make a difference.
And to work with these amazing creatures.
So yeah, you need those technical skills.
For sure, you got to know what you're doing.
But you also need passion. Responsibility.
That's key.
And that commitment to always learning and growing.
You're never done learning in this field.
And I think that's what's going to really come through in your interview.
Yeah, let that passion shine.
Be confident, be prepared.
And don't forget to use RoleCatcher to help you prep.
It's an amazing tool.
It really is.
We have no doubt that you're going to do great.
Good luck out there.
And thanks for joining us on the deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.